Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Tuesday, and all of our guests today brought to you by our title sponsor, Able Auctions, ableauctions.ca. Joined now, as we often are on a Tuesday, by TSN Scouting Director Craig Button. Craig, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
I'm good, Rick. What do you think of the shirt?
Oh, are you in Hawaii? Oh, beautiful.
No, this is a long sleeve shirt. Not Hawaii weather here.
You look like The Rock. What discotheque are you going to afterwards, Craig?
Yeah. I'll switch to my white bell-bottom pants.
Oh, yeah. Hey, how much fun did he have last? I don't know if you're wearing that shirt, but how much fun did he have last night watching that playoff hockey? 4 one-goal games, an average of, I believe, 75 total hits in the 4 games. It was fabulous. What did you think?
Yeah, well, if you want to make a montage of what playoff hockey looks like in the National Hockey League, stars, physicality, goaltending, everything that makes the game special, and certainly playoff hockey special, it was on display. And it's been on display since Saturday when the first games. And, the stars have come out to play. They, the saying, your best players have to be your best players. Well, the best players have been phenomenal, and a lot of other players have been just as phenomenal. But, you think about what McDavid does. You think Ovechkin scoring his first ever playoff overtime winning goal. You think about the whiteout in Winnipeg. You think about Montreal finding a way to get back into a game. It really is special, and we're only 3 days into the Stanley Cup playoffs.
I know he had a special season, Craig, but I thought that was Alex Ovechkin's best game of the season. 2 goals, 1 assist, 17, 18 minutes of playing time, the overtime winner. I thought he was 39 years old, Craig.
Well, he is, but he's got this fountain of youth. And one thing about Alex is that his enthusiasm and joy for playing the game has never waned in all these years. And certainly, you think about when he scored the goal that set the record all-time goals in the NHL, just the dive onto the ice. I mean, if that isn't enthusiasm, I don't know what is. And, the other thing I thought, Donnie, in the game last night, too, with Washington and Ovechkin, and you get to be 39 years old, you're not going to play with the same physical kind of vigor that he played with earlier. Like last night, he was playing with that physical bent, which makes him so feared. And he knows the playoffs are different, but you're not going to see that from him over the course of the regular season on a regular basis. But he knows the importance of it, and he was a bear last night in that game for the Washington Capitals.
7 hits.
So fun to watch last night. Hey, got to get over to the Canucks for a second here, Craig. I don't know if you saw Jim Rutherford's press conference yesterday. I don't know if he accidentally said it. He was talking about the Hughes brothers and maybe, we can bring them to Vancouver. Were you surprised a veteran like him would say? I mean, the NHL's got to be looking at tampering, Craig.
Yeah, the way I was on Jay Onright's show last night, and he brought up the same thing, Rick. I don't think that's a concerted effort of tampering. I think tampering, there has to be a concerted effort. I mean, Jim even commented, I think it was tongue-in-cheek, and then he realized, maybe I've said too much. And I think it's just one of those things where you just say, Jack Hughes has a long-term contract. And if you're going to tamper, you're not going to do the way Jim did it last night or yesterday. And certainly, he recognized the league might say, hey, Jim, you're smarter than that. Don't do that. But I don't think it's a big deal. I think the bigger deal is, Rick, is the fact is that he talked about Quinn Hughes and how important it is to sign him. But he made the comment that it said it might not be about money. And I think Jim is spot on. It isn't about money. It's about, does this team show to Quinn Hughes that they have a chance to win? Because Quinn Hughes is going to get paid. I don't care where he goes or what he does, whether it be in Vancouver, he's going to get paid. He's not there to get the money. The money's already there. He is going to want to be in a spot where he can compete to win a championship. That's what Jim Rutherford and Patrick Alvin have to do to convince Quinn Hughes. Because if Quinn Hughes doesn't feel that he has that opportunity in Vancouver, he's not signing long-term there.
Well, another one that's got to do with money is Rick Tocchet, and he's not signed yet. And there's 6 openings. Seattle made the 6th one last night or yesterday. Craig, he's got a lot of leverage here. Either the Canucks buck up to keep him, or he's going to have a lot of options, Rick Tocchet.
Well, we've seen where the coaching market has gone with respect to salaries, and deservedly so. And Rick Tocchet is no different. I think I echo Jim's thoughts when he said that he thought that Rick did a great job coaching this year. I thought he did a fabulous job coaching that team and everything that was surrounding the team, the drama and whatnot. But Rick Tocchet, I think, has reached a point in his coaching career where he's a darn good coach. And you look what Doug Armstrong did when Jim Montgomery became available. He said, "No, this is a massive upgrade on Drew Bannister, and I'm hiring Jim Montgomery." And I think that that's where Rick Tocchet finds himself. Don't just think about the teams that have openings. Think about teams that are looking at it and going, Rick Tocchet's an upgrade. So Jim Rutherford said that we'll wait to hear what he tells us this week, and he'll get back to us. But Rick Tocchet, I think, is very similar to Quinn Hughes. Is there an opportunity to have success here? Because Rick is wired to win. Rick wants to be in an environment where he has that chance to win. And Jim Rutherford's admitted it. They're not close to contending now. So how do you convince your coach? How do you convince your best player that this is where this is what we're going to do? Because that's really the task at hand for Jim Rutherford, the Vancouver Canucks organization, is to convince Coach Tocchet and Captain Hughes that this is a good place for you to be. Because if they can't convince them, I'll be surprised if they're going to be around.
Talking with Craig Button. Craig, sticking with the Canucks here, what goes through your mind when you hear about Elias Pettersson failing to prepare properly last offseason, and what goes through your mind when you hear about his poor practice habits? All of this not long after signing a big contract.
Yeah, well, the first word I would use, Donnie, is disappointed. I mean, bottom line is you're in the National Hockey League. You're compensated very well, and we know that he has tremendous ability. But he's not giving himself a chance by acting in this way. Whether commitment to off-season training, whether the practice habit, the best players, you always hear about how committed they are. I mean, Sidney Crosby was on the ice with the injured players in Pittsburgh yesterday. Like they're not playing in the playoffs. He's out there like helping them, trying to rehab. And I mean, maybe Sidney's getting ready for the World Championships. I don't know, but I mean, that's the dedication. You don't get to the top of the mountain being a top player by just showing up for games. And so the first word I would use is disappointing. And I think that I love the fact that the Vancouver Canucks are putting Elias Pettersson's feet to the fire. Because when you make $11.6 million and you're not giving yourself a chance to be the best player, which hurts the Vancouver Canucks, you need to have your feet held to the fire. So we'll see where Elias Pettersson goes. I also thought it was interesting, guys, when Patrick Allvin didn't take the option of trading him off the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where the Canucks are these days. Their fan base, the media, focusing on ex-Canucks who were discarded, who have had a pretty good start to the playoffs. Beauvillier, a couple of points last night. OEL, that first Leafs goal the other night. And Andrei Kuzmenko, 1 goal and 2 assists. The Kings, crazy game, beat the Oilers. Is it possible that Andrei Kuzmenko has found himself a hockey home with the LA Kings?
Well, I'm gonna say one thing before I answer your question. And so for all the Vancouver fans that are bemoaning players that have gone to other places and had success, trust me, I've heard it for years, decades about Marty St. Louis. So you know what? They have nothing over me.
But they never forget.
Like, one of the things it was very interesting. Jim Hiller, I was talking to him a few weeks ago, and he talked about Andre, and he like Kuzmenko, and he said we put him with Kopitar and Kempe. He says those two guys play the whole game. They play everywhere on the ice, and they play with a real significant interest and a real significant determination. And he said, we felt that putting Andre there would get the same type of commitment. And he said, that's exactly what we've gotten. And what Jim also said, he goes, how are you going to come to the bench and say, yeah, I didn't give the best effort back checking, or I didn't give the best effort in getting a puck out. He goes, you can't do it if you're playing with Anze Kopitar. And I think that we talk about getting into the right situation. And to finish my thought on that, Di, like when you can play that well and add scoring to a team that needs scoring, Andrei Kuzmenko very well may have found a home in Los Angeles.
Yep. All right, Craig. Rick's wife called. She wants her curtains back.
Oh!
Thanks for this, Craig.
I love it. I love that shirt.
Thank you, Donnie.
Yeah. Took me 5 minutes to come up with that one.
You got that. You got that. you got that big bay window, and now you don't have to look at the curtains, Rick. You can just look outside and see the beautiful skyline.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for this, Craig.
See you guys.